Hello, all you movie lovers. Haven't talked to anybody for a while. It's rough. Yeah, well, anyway, it's a nice day here in Toronto. Not a bad day, not a bad day. Yeah, I was out for a walk earlier. It was good. Anyway, we're here to talk about movies, so let's talk about movies I watched this week. This is just to say what ones I watched. Clear my throat. Sorry about that. But yeah, movies. We're here to talk about movies. Not to review them or anything, it's just what I watched this week. Simple little video. I've done it for a long time now, so let's talk about the movies. So, on TCM from 1947, I watched Dead Reckoning, starring Humphrey Bogart. Yeah, Hump, 1947. He was a decorated war hero, searches for his serviceman buddy who disappeared from a train en route to Washington, D.C. He gets involved with crooked gamblers, blackmail, and murder. Yes, he's there. He's trying to find out where his buddy went. Anyway, he ends up in a gambling place where he gambles for money. He meets a girl, and then things start happening. He's looking for his buddy. So, I liked it. I'm not going to tell you anything more about it because it will spoil it. So if you haven't seen Humphrey Bogart in Dead Reckoning, watch it. It's a good movie. I give it a 7 out of 10. So there you go. And the other one on TCM, I watched Rio Bravo. I've watched this numerous times. John Wayne. And most of you know Rio Bravo. John Wayne, Dean Martin, Rick Nelson, pardon me, Walter Brennan doing Walter Brennan, right? Yeah, they got a killer in jail and they are waiting for the U.S. Marshal. And his brother is trying to get him out. He hires a whole bunch of guys, for $50 or $100 to try to go up against John Wayne. So everybody knows that one. It gets a 7 out of 10, directed by Howard Hawks. Let's put that over there. Excuse me. The other one on TCM, I watched Millions Like Us, 1943. A factory worker, her name's Patricia Rock, the actress, romances an airman, Gordon Jackson, that's his name. It's about England's common people. It's during World War II. It's a well done movie. Yeah, it's about young girls, all the girls. Stories about girls, people, young people, old people in England when Germans are dropping the bombs. People run and hide in churches, the underground, subways, the tube. And it's a story about a family, and the mother's gone, passed away, so they're living with their dad, and they're all involved in one way or another with the war. So, very well done movie, like I said earlier. And if you haven't seen this, I recommend this one. It's a war movie, but it's mostly about people, the people in England in World War II. Very interesting stories. They all have a story to tell. But this is mostly about a family, a young girl that falls in love with an airman. Yes, he's in one of those bombers. He flies over Germany and drops bombs. And anyway, they meet each other in the factory. And they go out and they have tea together and they finally get married. Of course, she's still working at the factory and he's still flying those bombers. Can't tell you the ending of it because it will spoil everything for you. So if you haven't seen Millions Like Us, 1943, watch it. I recommend this one. I give it an 8 out of 10. A very good story. All about the people in England. And I watched another one, TCM, The Story of Seabiscuit, stars Shirley Temple, Barry Fitzgerald. I always like Barry Fitzgerald. Shirley Temple. They show up in this farm to run this farm with all, horses and stuff like that, right? So it's a story about Seabiscuit. I don't know if any of this is true or not. I have no idea. But it's a good little family story. Yeah, it's about the old guy and his granddaughter, Shirley Temple, and Shirley Temple falls in love with Jockey. Yes, so I thought it was a good story. I've seen it a few times over the years. Seabiscuit. I give it a 7. It's worthwhile watch. If it shows up again, in the future on TCM, and if I'm not doing anything that day or whatever, I'll watch it again. Oh, and I watched a movie on Rogers, which is Crave TV here in Toronto, Ontario, and it was White Boy Rick. It's a true story, based on a true story about this young boy living with his dad and his sister. At the time, his sister's a little messed up. The mom passed away, so it was just dad and these 2 kids. Story about this boy that's about 14 years old, and he starts working for the FBI, if you can imagine that. Anyway, it didn't turn out too well. Like I said, it's a true story. He ended up getting, jail time and stuff like that. So, stars Matthew, what's his name? Matthew McConaughey? Did I say his name right? Probably not. I probably butchered it. But it's a very good story. I liked it. And if you haven't seen it, White Boy Rick, give it a watch. It's worthwhile. It's worth your time. Very good story. I give it an 8 out of 10 on that one. And that's for some that's for the ones I watch on TV. Now, let's watch some of the ones, talk about the ones I watched on DVD. This one, 5 films, 5 world-renowned directors on one compelling DVD. Some Who Lived, Eyes of the Holocaust, Children from the Abyss, I Remember, and Hell on Earth. Yes, it's all about the Holocaust and the survivors. So, this is the kind of movie that's, I presume it's, what's the right word? I don't know if I can say this right. It's very well done. It's like documentary kind of style about different people that survived Holocaust, and they're talking to them, and some people, got their families wiped out and there's only them left, or, it's a sad story. It's very sad watching all these things and watching people and kids and stuff like that. I mean, I give it an 8 out of 10 for the whole DVD. What year did this come out? Oh, I don't know. I don't have my glasses on. 2004? Let's say 2004. Well, I don't know if I'll recommend this to anybody, because it all depends if you like watching this stuff or not, but I gave it a go. It was very interesting. It's all based on history and true stories. I mean, the war did happen, and a lot of people died in the Second World War. A lot of Jewish people. So it's a sad thing, but if you want to watch this, if you can find it interesting, and if you're interested in the war and what happened back then, watch it. I give it an 8. The whole thing gets an 8 out of 10. It was very interesting. But like I said, it all depends if you like watching this kind of stuff. And sometimes you don't know what you're watching until you actually watch it, I guess. So, there you go. Broken Silence, 5 films. Survivors. Very interesting. And a change of pace. Never Been Kissed. Never Been Kissed. Has its own sleeve. Drew Barrymore and David Arquette as her brother. She's a journalist. She writes for this paper. So she gets sent to school. She gets to be a student again. And everything that happens to her in school. She wasn't a very good, no, I wouldn't say that. She wasn't a very good, likable, she was kind of like geeky. Nobody liked her when she went to school. So now she gets another chance of going back to school. So it's interesting. I liked it. I gave it 7 out of 10. 2007, I guess, this movie came out. Yeah. So 8 years ago she was a total geek. Now she's back to get it right. Drew Barrymore is brilliant. Josie Croce, kind of former clueless nerd, navigate the hallways of high school without tripping over her own feet. It's fun. It's a fun movie. Yeah, it's fun. If you want to watch a fun movie for a couple hours, Watch it. Never Been Kissed. I give it a 7. It's a good 7 out of 10. There you go. Drew Barrymore, Never Been Kissed. Most of you know this movie, based on a true story about the 5 brothers who end up on a battleship together, the fighting Sullivans. This is the movie that inspired Saving Private Ryan. It's a true story of 5 brothers who fought and died together when their ship, their American cruiser Juno, was sunk in the South Pacific during World War II. 5 brothers and a sister. Shows them growing up when they were younger and all that stuff when they were kids, and it switches to when they're older and they're listening to the radio in Japanese bomb Pearl Harbor. So they all join up together. The 4 of them joined up in the first place, and the younger brother was married. He already had a baby. But the thing is that he ended up going with his brothers, the 5 of them. They were all together. They don't do that. They haven't done that in a long time, having brothers or family in the same unit. So that's the story behind this. This one gets a big 8. A big 8 out of 10, The Fighting Sullivans. 1944, I think it is, 1944. Highly recommended. Bob recommends that one. If you haven't seen it, watch it. Now let's look at a few more DVDs, war movies, of course. And they came in this. See this thing here? I got it down there. I'm going to show them to you. This is I guess a set. An anthology on war on film. And that's the case that it came in. And I'll show you the movies. Comes in this. 2008. This came out in 2008. This has 12 O'Clock High, The Longest Day, The Great Escape, Von Ryan's Express, The Sand Pebbles, Battle of Britain, Patton, Tora, and A Bridge Too Far in this. And I watched Von Ryan's Express, seen it at the show. It's a little bit different than the book. This is the book by David Westheimer, Von Ryan's Express. It's a little bit different. The ending's different. So I watched Von Ryan's Express. If you haven't seen Von Ryan's Express, watch it. That gets a big 8. I also watched The Great Escape, Steve McQueen and other actors. That's another 8 out of 10. I seen The Great Escape at the show here at the downtown. Yes, one Saturday night. I went by myself, of course. Selling newspapers down in Queen and Yonge Street here. Every Saturday night I used to go to the show. I also saw Von Ryan's Express at the theater here in Toronto when that came out. What else did I watch here on this one? Oh, is there another one? The Great Escape, yeah, I just talked about that. That's an 8. Von Ryan's Express, an 8. Did I watch another one in here? Oh yeah. The Battle of Britain. Well, the airplanes, you know, the Battle of Britain, and Germans sent their airplanes over and the bombers and everything. And their planes had to go up in England and protect England and shooting over the top of England and stuff like that. A few Canadians ended up over in England too, Britain, and they were fighting for the British. Yes, there was a whole bunch of people from different countries that actually went and joined up with Britain to battle the Germans over in the air. So that's another 8 out of 10, the Battle of Britain. And that's the movies I watched this week. So if you haven't seen the Battle of Britain or Von Ryan's Express or The Great Escape, watch them. They all get a big 8 out of 10. And that's the movies I watched this week. And Netflix has a lot of good movies on right now. I just checked Netflix a while ago when I was having lunch, gave it a run through. And I'm thinking, boy, there's a lot of good movies on there. I'm going to have to check out Netflix soon. Alright, people. Talk to you later. Have a good weekend and keep watching those movies.